And with Ja, he's a funny guy. He has a lot to say all the time, especially for a guy who rarely takes accountability. But you know what? That's for another day.
Had something to say back, and then
Ja got in there. I didn't see that the first time.
I saw that the first time.
A wild new clip just hit the internet, and it exposes a heated, personal showdown between Klay Thompson and Ja Morant like never before. What looked like harmless post-play trash talk suddenly flipped into a full-blown clash loaded with pride, frustration, and tension that clearly didn't just appear overnight. And bro, the moment it seemed like both sides were calming down, boom, everything blew up again, catching the whole arena off guard. This game was supposed to be nothing more than a chill mid-November matchup, just another regular season night, but on November 22nd, 2025, inside a roaring American Airlines Center, the whole vibe shifted into something unforgettable. Fans were looking around confused as the energy kept rising, possession by possession. Then the footage leaked online, and it spread everywhere instantly. Social media went wild, sports shows ran it non-stop, and the whole NBA universe locked in to see what really happened. Here's where the whole mess started.
Well, with the tall guy, I thought just like, that's not cool. I've seen them do dirty stuff before. I remember in the playoffs 2022, they broke my teammate's elbow on a dirty hit. That was very reminiscent. That made me think of that. I don't like seeing that done to a rookie. That's not cool. I'll compete with you all the other basketball players. Don't be dirty. That's not it. And Williams, I just kept that same energy. Kept chirping. Thought he flopped when I got tied up with him. And then with Ja, he's a funny guy. He has a lot to say all the time, especially for a guy who rarely takes accountability. But you know what? That's for another day. What do you got?
Memphis rolled into Dallas for what looked like a simple in-season tournament game, but under the surface, the tension was already bubbling. The arena felt electric from the opening tip, and both squads played with that playoff-style aggression, the kind that tells you nobody planned on backing down tonight. The Grizzlies were banged up, missing Ja because of a calf issue, but they showed up ready to prove they could still fight without him. Meanwhile, the Mavericks, now featuring Klay Thompson alongside Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving, were desperate to finally build some real momentum after a shaky start to their season.
And we need that in the NBA. We need our best players to be out there. And when you're a star, it comes with a great responsibility. And I hate to see that go to waste.
From the opening tip, you could tell something was different. The game got physical fast. Tough defense, sharp elbows, and constant chippy moments where neither squad wanted to blink first. Buckets weren't dropping easily for anyone, and every possession felt tense. As the second half rolled in, every little shove, stare down, and bump kept stacking up. The whole court felt like one spark away from chaos, and it didn't take long for that spark to show up. Midway through the game, Klay Thompson got into a fiery exchange with Santi Aldama after Klay was convinced Aldama hit him with a dirty move. The whole vibe flipped fast. 1 minute it was a normal scramble, the next it felt like the entire arena held its breath. Even Mavericks rookie Cooper Flagg got dragged into the chaos, the #1 pick who's been dealing with insane pressure since he stepped into the league. He was just making a basic defensive rotation, but the contact made everything look way more explosive than it really was. During the loose ball mess, Santi Aldama looked like he either tripped or tugged at Cooper Flagg, and Klay Thompson instantly jumped in like a vet ready to shield his guy. This wasn't just hoops to him. It was about pride, respect, and showing the young guns that he rides for his squad, no hesitation. But that was barely the warm-up. Later on, Klay found himself clashing with Vince Williams Jr. after the two got tangled up in a play Klay swore was pure acting meant to bait the refs into a cheap whistle. The fans felt the tension rising, and every bump, stare, and hard screen made the energy hit another level. Even with all the chaos, Klay still hooped, dropping 22 and splashing 6 out of 11 from deep. But Memphis stayed solid, letting different players shine while Ja Morant was out, keeping their composure through the entire second half like a team that came to make a point.
Just running his mouth, and he's been running his mouth for a long time, and it's funny to run your mouth when you're on the bench. It's kind of the story of his career so far, just leaving us wanting more, you know? We all want to see him out there and do his best, but he's just been letting a lot of other stuff get in the way of that.
The game stayed tight, but Klay's late game three clanged off the rim, locking in a 102-96 win for the Grizzlies. And as intense as the game was, what came right after the buzzer hit even harder. While Memphis celebrated the road dub, Ja Morant, easy to spot in his blue hoodie and dreadlocks, walked onto the court ready to stir the pot. Later, sports analysts broke everything down with Shannon Sharpe bringing the moment to life for the viewers. At first, Morant looked like he was just hyping up rookie Cam Spencer during his postgame interview saying, "I'm a competitor, man." He was pumping up Spencer's big night and throwing extra hype into what should have been a chill interview. But then, in a moment caught from every angle and blasted all over the internet, Ja's energy switched instantly, and the trash talk that came out next wasn't friendly at all. What Morant said wasn't some cute little joke. It was a direct hit aimed at one of the greatest shooters the league has ever seen. Commentators watching the clip didn't even need a replay to know this was serious. Morant marched straight toward Klay Thompson, who was still processing the tough loss, and pointed right in his face like he wanted all the smoke. Then he dropped the line that blew the internet up. He brushed off Klay's legendary shooting reputation and said Cam Spencer was the best shooter on the floor that night. No playful energy, no laughs, just a straight-up challenge from a guy not even suited up. Klay wasn't having it for 1 second. He smacked Morant's hand away and fired right back, flipping the moment from regular trash talk into a situation that had to be shut down instantly. Coaches, teammates, and security rushed in from every direction before things went from heated to dangerous. Multiple camera angles caught everything. Morant leaning in with attitude, Klay standing his ground, and young guys like Cooper Flagg and Cam Spencer just staring like, what is happening right now?
That sound personal, huh? You hear me? Most of the time when you have an altercation, when cooler heads prevail, once you get to the locker room, you sweep it under the rug. But he ain't sweep it under the rug.
The whole moment lasted under a minute, but it carried the weight of something way bigger. This wasn't a casual disagreement. It was years of pride, ego, and rivalry colliding right there on the hardwood. Fans recording it didn't even realize they were catching the spark that the entire NBA world would be arguing about for days. What was supposed to be a regular game suddenly turned into a debate about respect, maturity, and the unwritten rules every player knows but never says out loud. And as security dragged them apart while they kept yelling from across the court, one thing was crystal clear. This drama wasn't close to being done. And the aftermath? That part hit even harder. If the on-court clash was explosive, everything that followed was straight up scorching. Most players cool off once they hit the locker room, but Klay Thompson had no intention of brushing this off or pretending it was just another mid-season night. The flare-up didn't end on the court, not even close. What came next was one of the rawest, most brutally honest post-game interviews the league had heard in years. Standing in front of his locker, still in full post-game gear, Klay Thompson didn't dodge a single question when reporters brought up the clash with Ja Morant. He spoke with sharp, clean honesty, every line hitting with the weight of 13 seasons, 4 championships, major injuries, and everything he survived in this league. And you could tell he'd been holding on to this frustration for a long time. This wasn't regular trash talk anymore. This was a veteran letting out years of pent-up irritation about what he sees as wasted potential and a player who doesn't always take responsibility for his actions. Klay wasn't sugarcoating a thing. His disappointment was clear, and his message was straight up. Talking loud means nothing if you're not backing it up with discipline, consistency, and showing up for your squad when they need you. Then he dropped the final shot, the kind that only someone who's been to the top of the mountain can deliver. You could feel the confidence in every word, like he was reminding the world he knows exactly what real greatness takes. The basketball world exploded instantly. His interview went viral within hours, racking up millions of views and setting the internet on fire with non-stop debates. Supporters backed him heavy, pointing to everything he's done. The 60 points in 3 quarters, the 37-point quarter, the 14 threes in a single game, and the fact he's one of the deadliest shooters ever. To them, Klay earned the right to speak his mind, and Morant should have shown a little more respect to someone who actually has the hardware and the resume. But critics came swinging right back. Some pointed to Klay's recent shooting struggles and claimed he was living off old highlights. One viral reply even said, "Why don't you start making some shots so you won't be called a bum?" echoing fans who felt he was stuck talking like it was still 2015. Others argued he wasn't giving the new generation their space to shine. Even big voices like Shannon Sharp jumped in, pointing out how personal Klay's words sounded, saying his whole approach went way past anything you'd call normal post-game frustration.
Oh, he took little shots. He took little shots as if he was sitting on the other side of the spectrum like an analyst, like a pundit, taking subtle shots based on his character and his actions and some of the things he's done on and off the court.
This wasn't just heat-of-the-moment energy. This was history boiling over. To understand why this clash hit so hard, you gotta rewind to where the rivalry actually started. It goes all the way back to the 2022 Western Conference semifinals, the veteran Golden State Warriors versus the fearless young Memphis Grizzlies led by Ja Morant. One side was a dynasty with Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green, and the other was a rising squad full of swagger that sometimes pushed straight into disrespect. Everything blew up in Game 3. Ja injured his knee on a play involving Jordan Poole, and he called the move dirty, instantly kicking off days of wild debates. Klay came to Poole's defense immediately, leaning on his own brutal injury history and refusing to let serious accusations slide without a fight. From that moment on, the series wasn't just basketball anymore, it was personal. Morant danced on the Warriors, hit celebrations, fired social shots, and acted like Memphis already had a dynasty of their own. Meanwhile, the Warriors felt like the young Grizzlies were talking like they'd earned a legacy they hadn't touched yet.
Wasn't mine. It's not who I am. I don't condone any type of violence, but I take full responsibility for my actions. Made a bad mistake, and I can see the image that I painted over myself with my recent mistakes. But in the future, I'm gonna show everybody who Ja really is, what I'm about, and change this narrative.
Golden State went on to win the series and eventually the championship, but the bitterness never cooled off. The rivalry stayed alive for years through more trash talk, more matchups, and more online noise. Morant kept poking at the Warriors every chance he got, even yelling at Curry during later games. And Klay, he became even more vocal. He said Morant's off-court issues were stopping him from reaching his real potential, and he compared him to past Grizzlies legends like Zach Randolph, who earned their respect through toughness, not online antics. Klay has always been protective, competitive, and the type to stand up for his squad without thinking twice. And when he left Golden State for Dallas in 2024, it wasn't just a team switch. It was a whole new chapter after feeling overlooked. And that rivalry with Morant followed him into it like unfinished business. Moving to Dallas meant Klay didn't leave any of his old smoke behind. He carried every rivalry with him. So when the Mavericks finally matched up with the Grizzlies, all that history snapped right back into place instantly.
It just doesn't, you got to get a little lucky in this league, I've learned too. Like, you got to get some breaks with injuries. Paul and I have been through it, but just lucky to still be going for 5. Like, when I say that, I have no complaints. Like, I'll do it all over again.
The clash on November 22nd wasn't random at all. It was years of tension, disrespect, and two totally different mindsets about what the NBA should look like. Klay saw Morant as the face of everything he didn't vibe with in the modern league. Flashy highlights, excuses, and hype without accountability. Meanwhile, Morant probably looked at Klay as a guy holding onto old trophies while criticizing the new generation just for having confidence and swagger. Once the footage hit the internet, the media storm went crazy. ESPN, Bleacher Report, The Athletic, Yahoo Sports, everybody broke the moment down frame by frame and connected it to their long-running beef. The story hijacked talk shows, podcasts, and sports columns, sparking debates about whether Klay was speaking truth or whether Morant crossed the line. Social media didn't just react, it exploded. Clips, edits, and wild memes flooded every timeline. TikTok reenactments popped off, YouTube breakdowns pulled millions of views, Reddit threads went insane, and Twitter fans argued nonstop for days. And the split was sharp. By team, by age, by what people believe respect in sports should look like. It became obvious this wasn't just two hoopers barking at each other. This was a clash between two visions of the NBA, old school discipline versus new school confidence, what the league should be, how players should carry themselves, and whether the next generation has actually earned the right to challenge champions who already proved themselves. So what were the things Klay believed were holding Morant back? To understand why this confrontation hit so hard, you gotta look at how different their journeys were. These weren't just two dudes trading words. Their entire careers, their struggles, and the way they were built played into every second of that moment. Klay Thompson's rise to greatness started with raw talent, a strong support system, and being around the game since he was a kid. As the son of former NBA champion Michael Thompson, he grew up in Southern California surrounded by basketball and eventually became a top-tier shooter at Washington State. When the Warriors grabbed him with the 11th pick in 2011, nobody knew it yet, but NBA history was about to change forever. Alongside Stephen Curry, he formed the legendary Splash Brothers, the duo that proved a three-point storm could power an entire dynasty. Klay's resume is stacked with rings, all-star nods, and insane masterpieces like 60 points in 3 quarters, 37 in a single quarter, and 14 threes in one night. His defense and clutch moments made him one of the most respected guards of his whole era. But then everything flipped when he went through back-to-back injuries. First a torn ACL in 2019, then a brutal Achilles tear during rehab.
The Grizzlies, who tweeted strength in numbers after they beat us in the regular season, and it pissed me off so much. I can't wait to retweet that thing. Freaking.
Those setbacks stole over 2 seasons and forced him to rebuild his game from scratch piece by piece. Klay has talked many times about how those years changed him, how they made him appreciate every high, every struggle, every moment he stepped back onto the floor. His return in January 2022 was emotional, and helping Golden State win another title that season felt like a full-circle moment, but the injuries still changed him. His athleticism wasn't the same, even though his shooting stayed elite. And when the Warriors didn't prioritize re-signing him in 2024, he felt overlooked by the franchise he had given everything to. Moving to Dallas became more than just a business decision. It was a fresh start, a new chapter, and a chance to feel valued again. In Dallas, he embraced being a mentor, especially with young players like Cooper Flagg, and that protective vibe showed up loud during the run-in with Santi Aldama. That wasn't fake emotion. That was years of leadership built through pain and experience. Ja Morant's path looked completely different. He came from a small town in South Carolina, wasn't heavily recruited and didn't arrive with hype, but his breakout at Murray State flipped his whole life. Memphis took him 2nd overall in 2019, and he instantly turned the franchise around with explosive athleticism and fearless confidence. But Ja's rise came with its own challenges. He dealt with several off-court issues that sparked conversations about his decision-making and maturity, pulling attention away from his talent. He also faced league scrutiny in 2023 after appearing on social media with an object that drew major concern, and it led to disciplinary action. Morant later addressed the situation publicly, saying he understood the seriousness of it and took responsibility for his actions. It was a moment that showed how different his journey was from Klay's. 2 careers built on greatness, but shaped by completely different battles. Just 2 months later, another clip popped up online showing Morant in a car holding something that caused major concern, and the league reacted instantly. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver called his behavior reckless and hit him with a 25-game suspension to start the 2023 to 2024 season. Morant went through counseling afterward and apologized publicly, but his reputation took a serious hit, and the issues didn't completely disappear during the 2024 to 2025 season either. He got into a tense exchange with members of the coaching staff after a loss to the Lakers, which led to a 1-game suspension for insubordination. Moments like these kept raising the same question. Could Morant truly grow into the leader Memphis needed, or would distractions keep stealing attention from his talent? When he finally returned from suspension, Morant openly talked about the mental and emotional weight of being away from the game he loves. It was clear the situation shook him, but the spotlight never stopped following him. So when Klay Thompson called him out for dodging accountability, he wasn't just talking to talk. He was speaking as someone who fought through 2 career-threatening injuries, rebuilt himself from the ground up, and always showed up for his squad. His sharp line about Morant's career leaving us wanting more came from real frustration, watching elite talent get slowed down by choices made off the court. Right after the confrontation between them, fans and analysts wondered if the league would step in again. And as of November 23, 2025, the NBA still hadn't announced any fines or suspensions, but the situation was very much under review. Then things got even crazier this week when new NBA rumors surfaced. Reports claimed the Sacramento Kings quietly reached out to Memphis with one bold question: Is Ja Morant even available in a trade? Sources like Clutch Point said it wasn't a real offer, just a temperature check to see if Memphis would even pick up the phone. But everyone coming out of Memphis kept repeating the same message. The Grizzlies aren't shopping Morant, and they haven't taken any steps toward real trade talks. Even with his up and down season and a little less explosiveness than before, the organization still sees him as their main piece moving forward. The Kings, meanwhile, are stuck in a messy spot where nothing about their future feels locked in. So, of course, the idea of bringing in a star like Morant sparked curiosity inside the building. A player with his talent could flip their whole direction in a heartbeat. But for now, nothing moves. Morant stays in Memphis, and Sacramento walks away with nothing more than a quiet check-in that fades right back into the nonstop NBA rumor mill. So now the real question hits: what do you make of everything that just went down? Did Klay Thompson cross the line, or was he just speaking the truth that nobody else wanted to say out loud? And where does Ja Morant even go from here with all this chaos swirling around him? Drop your thoughts in the comments because I actually want to hear what you think. I appreciate every single one of you watching this wild story unfold, and trust me, there's way more coming. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss the next twist in this crazy NBA world. And if you want more breakdowns, wild moments, and deep dives, the channel's stacked with videos waiting for you. See you in the next one.